then so be it.
And more reactions trailing the outcome of Ondo governorship election.
Relatively very free and fair, and people were allowed to come out and exercise their franchise without any kind of fear or kind of intimidation. And to a great extent, people came out to vote willingly, not because of inducement with money and other things. So automatically, I want to believe this is one of the best elections I witnessed in this country.
Conduct of Ondo State election is a great improvement from what we have witnessed in the past. The NBA commends the people of Ondo State for their peaceful conduct during and after the elections. We wish to also commend INEC and the security agencies, while we acknowledge that there is room for improvement. So if the process of accreditation before voting can be done electronically, if the officials of INEC can have a tab where there's a spreadsheet of all the voters, so that confirmation and accreditation can take less than 10-15 seconds, that will go a long way to help the process. I think for an election of this nature, it is a big plus to the security agencies that there was no death recorded.
CBD observers reported a consistent pattern of vote buying involving vote buyers who use various devices to evade the watch of security officers and election observers. Presence of fake news and fake observers, particularly the latter, who were neither accredited by INEC nor trained to engage in non-partisan observation.
I witnessed a very old man in his late 60s saying that he wanted the money he was to be paid for selling his vote. And he was ready to turn everything upside down. And he even mentioned that, listen, he doesn't care to be taken to headquarters. There were police, there is people there, nothing ever happens. How many vote buyers have ever been prosecuted? Continue to say that their core mandate of law enforcement is actually not being done.
Calls on the winning candidates, and his supporters to be magnanimous in victory. For those candidates who did not win, we urge them to accept the results because they reflect the vote count.
The INEC official results of the 2020 Ondo State gubernatorial election fall within the Africa watching the vote estimates. Had these official results been changed at the ward, local government or state collection centers?
If they have challenges to the process, they can go to court to challenge that, and our data is always available for parties who need information on the election day process. Our findings have shown that the result announced by INEC is a reflection of the vote cast because it is consistent with our estimates, and we had given out our PVT estimates and stated the range within which each party would win the elections, and also the question about the margin of lead within each party.
Yes, those are reactions which came after the declaration of result in Ondo State, and moving away from on politics, elections, and all that happened in the House of Assembly in Edo State. Let's go straight to other issues. For almost 6 days, I think, it should be about 6 days running now, young Nigerians have been on the streets in major cities calling for an end to police brutality and scrapping of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SAS. On Sunday, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, ordered that all SAS officials should return to the police headquarters as a unit was dissolved.
In a review of the current developments and in due cognizance of the wide and legitimately held concerns of well-meaning citizens on the existence and operations of Special Anti-Robbery Squad as a responsive and citizen-oriented police force, it is hereby directed as follows. 1. The Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigeria Police, otherwise known as SAS, is hereby dissolved across all formations, the 36 state police commands, and the Federal Capital Territory, where they currently exist. 2. All officers and men currently serving in the unit are to be deployed with immediate effect.
All right, thank you very much. You just saw what the Inspector General of Police made the announcement on Sunday, and that's what it says, that they are withdrawing all the SARS officials to the headquarters, the police headquarters, all of them across the country. And despite the announcement, some young Nigerians remain on the street. The major centers and roads were closed to traffic by the aggrieved protesters.
This is what we're explaining to. Okay, so when you understand it, you'll be able to send the message. And what you don't understand.
Well, if we help you guys do it and it doesn't help, everything will go
No. Davido, I thought we're here.
There's SARS. No more.
Okay, this is.
So they're saying take off the SARS and give them police uniform. That's what you're saying. Sack everybody, let them go home first.
The protest is for our lives, it's for our future. We want SARS to end, but SARS is just the beginning. They should just wait for us. We're not quiet anymore. They call us lazy youths, but we're not lazy. We know what we're fighting for, and we know what we want. We know what we want, and we're not going to budge until we get what we want.
Trying to believe that we have been lazy. We accept that we have been lazy. But it's just one day a man wakes up and we've woken up.
And we're not ready to go. We're not ending this.
Well, those are just a little of some of the videos that we saw over the social media and telephone. Some of our friends and colleagues were using their phones to record because of the traffic, the gridlock in some parts of Abuja as well as in Lagos. Even in some states in the northern part of Nigeria, we also had two sides of the protest. And while these protests were going on in Lagos, Abuja, in Kano and other parts of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari responded in response to what all the NSAS protests spoke on need to urgently reform the Nigerian police.
Use this opportunity to say a word on the recent genuine concerns and agitations by Nigerians about the excessive use of force and, in some cases, extrajudicial killings and wrongful conduct by means of the Nigerian police force. The disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reform in order to ensure that the primary duty of the police and other law enforcement agencies remains the protection of lives and livelihoods of our people. We will also ensure that all those responsible for misconduct or wrongful acts are brought to justice. We also deeply regret the loss of life of the young man in Oyo State during the recent demonstrations. I have directed that the circumstances of his death should be thoroughly investigated. Meanwhile, it is important to recognize that the vast majority of men and women of the police force are hardworking and diligent in performing their duties. The few bad eggs should not be allowed to tarnish the image and reputation of the force.
There, he spoke today in Abuja during an event for youth, and while all these assurances are coming from the president, a lot of youth were still on the streets, and the question to ask is, why are these youth still on the streets, on the major streets of Lagos and Abuja? And all the information we received from Lagos concerning how some areas were blocked, even up to some of the wing and the airport was even blocked to traffic. Well, joining me today is a lady who was attacked. She was attacked during the protest on Sunday, and she's here to tell us her experience, as well as also make us understand why they have to remain on the streets. Thank you very much. I have Ndikatu here. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now let's find out from you. I saw you called me and I couldn't hear you clearly. And
I'm really surprised like I'm talking.
And
you can hear me now, can't you?
I can't hear you, but this is not your real voice.
No, it's not my voice at all.
It's not. What happened?
We were at the police headquarters at Louis Sedet's house, and it was very peaceful. They have this barricade, and young people were at the other side of the barricade, and then, you know, we had people who were at the traffic and security unit organizing ourselves perfectly, you know, and every time one officer would come out and try to placate us, and young people were like, no, we want to talk to the IG of police. And IG is not too much to ask to talk to the IG of police. I want us to be very clear that when you are appointed to these positions, the positions is not to form orga, it is to serve. And so when young people say we are tired of being killed by your men, and that this thing that is happening is a violation of your human rights, and we want to see the person in charge, the person in charge should just come out. And we had all kinds of stories. Another group will come out, and we feel like, wait, is this how protests have been happening in Nigeria? That they will just come and placate people with one small thing and they will go away. And young people insisted that, you know what, we're going to sleep here and wait for the IG of police. We had organized ourselves very well. There was food, there was water. We're trying to organize mobile toilets. They're even given, to the point of pads. There were people who were part of the waste management committee that were going around picking anything. We were not making trouble. At one point, we were even offering police food. There was no trouble at all. And I remember some of us kept calling because Aisha Yesufu and Obieze Kwesili had held a meeting with the IG before. And he was saying he was surprised that his men attacked protesters the day before. He said he was surprised, such a thing would not happen, assured them. So as we're sitting there, and these younger people were saying that these people were saying they were going to tear gas, we're like, no such thing is going to happen. At that point, I did believe in a central command of the Nigerian police force, that when the person at the top says no such thing should happen, no such thing would happen. But after what happened on Saturday, I got to understand that, no, it appears that, look, somebody may have lost the plot. Or that what we think is a unit with a central system that controls everything does not work that way. And that the boss may say stop, but too many people have gone rogue. Because that day, it was not the IG that ordered it. Somebody came down, she played with us to speak, and she said she's like a mother to us. People say, no, our parents are home, those days have passed. And then the next thing, once it got to evening and it was like they could see that nobody could see what was happening, tear gas came from. The way they unleashed, it was tear gas, it was water cannons, and they were pushing us into moving traffic. People whose primary duty is to protect Nigerians were pushing young Nigerians into moving traffic. They were throwing tear gas, following us with those cannon vehicles, and pushing us into moving traffic on Goodluck Jonathan Expressway. The first one hit, and we were told wrongly that water is the thing that suppresses it. So I poured water.
You poured water?
I poured water on my face. And this thing settled on my lungs. It was like my lungs were perforated in 1,000 places. But then you're still running because adrenaline is trying to, like, you have entered survival mode. I had friends and people who had just met that day who were just helping me, like we were just going. And they kept throwing and they came at us with batons, and then the next thing we were hearing shots. And this was the first day. It took me out that day. I couldn't come back yesterday. It took so much for me to survive through yesterday. And then yesterday, we saw the same thing, live ammunition. And this is the federal capital. This is the federal capital. Live ammunition. One funny thing happened. I would say it's funny, or I would say it's ironic, but it further proves our point. Arise TV's cameraman left the place where the IG of police was announcing the disbandment of SARS. Now, if the IG of police is announcing the disbandment of SARS, it means he's saying that those of us outside, we are right.
Yeah.
As he left, he just came outside to check protesters. His head was busted. And
by who?
By the police, of course.
Let me find out from you. Because when you're saying the police, you know, at times I want to talk like a lawyer when there's no evidence. Were they armed protesters?
There was no armed
They
protesters.
didn't come out
Yes.
with arms.
No single
So definitely
protester.
the policemen.
No single protester in this Abuja in which I'm protesting. I mean, these videos are everywhere. These videos are everywhere. You will see police, 6 of them gathered on one girl's head yesterday and beat her up. You saw protesters. They boiled the water in that cannon buster. You saw protesters.
Hot water.
Yes, it was hot water with injuries all over their bodies. These are young people, oh. And from the people I know, like you see some people say they are jobless. You know what? That speaks to what is happening in the nation right now, because everybody there was educated. So that speaks to, like, you are telling Nigerian youths are jobless as if it is an insult. No, it's not an insult to us. It's an indictment on the system. Over 7 million jobs have been lost. Of course, these are people. And if you are saying the people there are jobless, then you can see the 7 million jobs that have been lost. Not only have the 7 million jobs been lost, ASU is on strike. Children are at home. There is insecurity. People cannot go to so many places at this point. Young people are agitating. And we are saying, look, enough is enough. And to be honest, I will use this opportunity to say I'm quite disappointed in the older generation. They are telling us, but when you protest, they say they have ended it. And we're like,
No, that's even where I'm going to. If they say, if the IG announced on Sunday that they have ended SARS, that's what your group and some other groups that are protesting across Nigeria want.
There is no group. It's young Nigerians. It's young Nigerians.
Young Nigerians
have refused to say there is any leader to this thing.
Okay.
Young Nigerians have refused to say, oh, these are veteran protesters, we are following them. No. You wake up as an individual. You are concerned for your safety and the safety of the next young Nigerian and the future of Nigeria. You show up. There is no point where in the night I am planning, this is it. Young people wake up and like, where is it happening? Have you seen people here? Have you seen people here? And they're making
use of the social media.
Yes, and they simply go and join. There is no place that this group of people are the people that are calling. No. And it is important because, look, young people have seen throughout history that there are groups of people that form, they are the ones leading protests. You follow them, tomorrow they will call them to negotiate. So let it be known that whoever the government is negotiating with, they are not appointed by anybody. Whoever you have told to go and set up committee has not been appointed by anybody. What young people are asking is for an end to police brutality. And in the process of asking for an end to police brutality, we are getting brutalized. Now, there is a white paper sitting at the National Human Rights Commission. Part of the things in that white paper is that the police should be decentralized. What we are seeing right now is that, look, this system has failed. That one person at the top cannot control 300,000 people. In Lagos, the IG would not say he's the person that told the people in Surulere to start shooting. If you see the videos, they shot one man with his hands in his pocket. An onlooker, they shot the man, it hit him here.
I think that's the video.
That's the video that was blurred.
Yes.
People tried. Young doctors on ground tried to resuscitate him. You saw the number of police that hit 2 girls. They gathered and beat 2 young women. And that place, they say it's a SARS unit. Young people in Lagos say it's a SARS unit. It's obvious that way too. This SARS, it happened on Facebook and on live TV, but it has not happened in police stations.
So was it why the protesters still came out on the street?
Yes.
And I also hear that they will still go out tomorrow.
We will still go out because what we are fighting for is a better Nigeria. And we want the government to know that this is not a joke. It is not a joke. It is not a joke. That we are saying that we deserve better, and the answer to Nigerian youths telling you that you deserve better is to kill us. It's not a joke. You will deliver this better country that we want. We will get the better country we want. We are not the generation that you'll be brutalizing us. Instead of us to come out and say this is what we want, we'll go back and pray. God is not a magician. This is a generation of young people that are demanding the right thing, and it cannot be too much. And I should speak to how easy it is to met out violence in Nigeria. How easy it is to snuff out a Nigerian life. How can it be that the easiest thing you can think of to scare Nigerians is to kill them? How can you live in a country that violence is the only negotiating thing? That if any group comes out and wants the government to respect them, they will carry guns. Once guns and violence enters the story, government will shake.
Okay, let's go back to the demand initially and SARS. And that came on Sunday when the Inspector General of Police made the announcement. And the president, I also saw from you saying President Buhari should speak. And he spoke today. Now, what are you demanding since there's no more SARS?
We are demanding that what is happening today, in real time, as the president is speaking, should stop. It was after he spoke, people were killed in Surulere. The same people that are doing those killings, they are Nigerians. They are police. Police is part of government. Did they not see the broadcast? So if the people that are supposed to do the killing are not seeing the broadcast and are not listening, what are we supposed to do? Nigerians died today. 8 died in Ogbomoso yesterday. These are not figures. And I want us to point, the president said a few bad eggs. If today you tell the president that you will fly Air Peace or you fly Asman Air, it's a good airline, but a few of their pilots are bad, they tend to crash. Will you enter? Nigerian police cannot afford a few bad eggs. You say it like these few bad eggs are just going and pouring water on the streets. A few bad eggs with guns in their hands is not something Nigeria can afford. You must reform the system. Okay,
I'll come back to you, Ndikatu. We're supposed to be joined by a security expert as well as an anti-graft campaigner, George Uboh, who is to join us via a Zoom meeting. I don't know if he's there. If he's there, let's quickly go to George Uboh. Thank you very much, Mr. Uboh, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can't hear you clearly, but I will just try and manage whatever sound I get from you. You've listened to Ndikatu tell us her story, and she explained how she was attacked, how they used water cannon, hot water cannon on them, as well as tear gas, that she was almost collapsing, almost dying. And you have also seen the IGP announce the dissolution or the disbandment of the federal SARS. That he said across the state, across the country, even in states. And the president also spoke today, yet these young Nigerians are on the street. What do you think is responsible?
Well, thank you, Ijeoma. If you recall on your show a few months back, I did posit that Nigeria is at best a failing state or at worst a failed state because all the indices are there.
Are you saying all the indices that characterize a failed state is what Nigeria stands, but we still have a country?
I'm coming, you see, because I have been in the front line talking about this for a long time.
But would that statement be a charitable one to describe a nation like Nigeria?
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm going to defend it. Okay. I will defend my position.
Okay.
When you have... I beg your pardon?
I can hear you.
Okay. When you have extreme poverty,
Wow. Oh no, I think we just lost connection to George Uboh. We'll still be waiting for him to join us.
Last year.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, it was just last year. I simply wrote a letter to the CBN governor to account for monies missing under his watch. I spent 101 days in detention for that. Now, I've never told anyone what I've been through. I'm writing a book on it. I know what I went through in detention, rats, cat-infested cells and everything. I almost lost my life. So it gladdens my heart to see young Nigerians, and I want you to understand that this is not about SARS. When you look at what happened like the Arab Spring and all over the world, from time immemorial, when the masses are at the brink, at the precipice, they can just use one excuse to protest. But you're going to have protests within protests. Because even after you disband SARS, whatever nomenclature, the issue is we are fighting injustice. We are fighting corruption at the highest level. We are fighting so many things. So even if you do what they ask for, of course they're going to go for and ask for more. because there isn't anything to look forward to. I'm sorry to say that. So I don't want, I've been the voice in the wilderness speaking about this because I know what we go through in the civil society. We know the harassments, the intimidations, the arrests, detentions, trials, convictions. So, the reason why they have gotten away with this in the past is because of the docility, because Nigerians were seen to be docile. So for me to see the protests going on, if this is all I have witnessed in Nigeria, I'm willing to die. I'm willing to go and meet my creator, because I never thought that Nigerians would one day wake up to ask for their rights. Because when I started doing it, when I was calling EFCC to account back in 2013, people were saying, how does it concern you? And it was so painful, so appalling for me to hear fellow Nigerians, talk to me with extreme apathy, like no concern. So today, the past 2 days have been the best days of my life. And like I said, I'm willing to die and go face my maker.
But I've not seen you with these protesters. If you say you are not a young man anymore, or you're not a youth, which I know you're not, I've not seen you show solidarity to them. I've not seen you take up the street. Nobody says you can't go to the street if you feel that what is happening, you like it. But there's another question.
No. Listen, I was yesterday. I actually went to the streets yesterday. I was there yesterday. But the issue is beyond me. I have gone to the street, and I have so many levels of support as well. So people look up to me because they know if you are arrested or whatever, I'm not going to count what I've done for people, getting them lawyers and all that. Even in Kuje prison, I know what I do there. So the name George Uboh is synonymous with, fighting corruption, protesting injustice and all that. So that one, I don't need to go to talk too much about. But the point is, as we speak, I am highly elated. That is all I can say, because my dreams, what I have always thought about that needs to happen, that needs to happen in Nigeria is actually what is happening. And I think this is now this rude awakening, because with this now we can go and go into different spheres, be it the fight against corruption, be it selective prosecution. We can go into all that when you have anti-corruption agencies blatantly, flagrantly cutting away the recovered funds, and nobody has been able to ask them to account. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. That's all I can say.
Mr. Uboh, I need to ask a question that I feel that so many people are asking. They asked for end to SARS, and the Inspector General Police came out to announce that they have ended SARS and they are withdrawing the SARS officials. They're asking them to go to the police headquarters. And even the president spoke today, just like I asked earlier. I asked the indicator. The president also spoke. These young Nigerians are still in the street. If they are still on the street, does it not mean that it goes beyond end SARS? I beg your pardon. Mr. Uboh.
I lost you there, but I think I know where you are driving. I did posit that, yes, they can go under the umbrella of SARS. But the issue is that there are so many, when you look at the Arab Spring, you go under the umbrella of one issue. Then from there it is spiral going to other one. The point is injustice, police brutality. I mean, even if you end SARS, it's like exalting form over substance. The form is SARS. The substance is the brutality. So you end SARS, but you still keep the same officers with that orientation and mentality. So you haven't done anything. I hope you know what I'm talking about. So my thing is, you can answer, say it sounds good, but there has to be the substance of what we're talking about has to be looked into, and not just the brutality. I mean, if anybody now wants to harass you, intimidate you, the best outfit to go to is the police. I just told you how I wrote that last year, and I spent 101 days in detention. so there is a lot involved here, apart from the shooting and all that. So we need to look into the entire gamut of what goes on at the Nigerian Police Force.
All right, we'll come back to you. Let's quickly let you know you can be part of this program. Pick up your telephone and then follow us on our social media platform. We'll preferably use the Twitter handle. You can follow us at Democracy Number Today. Drop your comments. We'll take them on the program tonight. And also follow me on my handle at Osanmor. Drop your comments too if you have a question or if you feel that some of the comments made by discussants are not necessary. You can also drop one if you have one. But at this moment, I know he is excited. We're supposed to even have our crime correspondent join us on this program today. I'm still waiting for her to come here so she can tell us more, especially what the police needs to stop the alleged brutality, the reason why these young Nigerians are on the road. If they can ask for something, especially now that the president is calling for a reform. The president said this ban on SARS is just the beginning of the much talked about police reform. That the package that they have, that the government have for Nigeria, is something that interests you and I. So now young people are still on the streets. In Lagos, it was wow, even up to the extent that workers couldn't go to work today. In Abuja here, we also saw them on the streets. I wanted to go through Beggar, but I couldn't. I had to turn back because somebody was to be on this program, Olumide. He couldn't come here because of traffic. He said he couldn't come. The road, because he was on the streets and the road is blocked, he couldn't make it to the studio. Now, what do they want? There is already a move to reform the Nigerian police, the force.
The first proof that there is a move to reform the Nigerian police is for consequences for officers who have brutalized protesters and have killed Nigerians in the past couple of days. Has that happened? As you speak, you are telling us that, oh, wait and see what we have for you. But while we wait, a couple of you might die, and that's no problem. And so we are saying that a couple of us cannot afford to die. You're telling us that you have something special for us, as if we're at a concert or at a dinner and food has not come. Don't worry when you see your own food. No, this is human life. The man who was killed, that video of the man, we are seeing now the information that it was a mechanic who came out to get a vehicle. In fact, the last dialed number was his wife. That, oh, see traffic, let him come out and see what's happening. How can Nigerian life be so worthless? And as a leader, how can you go to sleep knowing if it is that you are actually interested in leadership? And that is one of the problems that young people are having. That it seems that there was a certain generation, or there is a certain generation, for which everything in Nigeria is a patronage system. It's a system that let's get in and see what we can get, and not the bigger picture. That is why you will be talking to someone who is working in the health sector, and you say, so people have died to maternal mortality, and you say, it's not so bad now, at least last year. As if the people you are talking about are not humans. This is the time now when somebody drops. We have been finding out the names of everybody. Have you realized that when they are reporting dead people in Nigeria, they will say 6 die in Kaduna? 6 what? 6 what? Are they goats? These are Nigerians. And every day you are going to work, you see in the paper 6 die in Kaduna, 7 die in Zamfara, and you just keep going. This is a country that in the space of the past 2 months, gas explosions, in one state, over 50 people burnt on the street. If that happens in one country in the EU, the entire EU is shut down in mourning. In one country, let it happen in Scotland, let it happen in Sweden. Let it happen in Sweden that 50 people were burnt to death, and see what will happen in the EU. You will not hear what it will be all over your news.
So what do you want?
We cannot. We want value for the Nigerian life, and it's not too much to ask.
So it's not just all about NSAS.
It's not just NSAS, because if you tell us NSAS, and as you are reading NSAS, policemen are still killing. What's the point? You can't tell us that you can't come and do this ceremony, and as you are doing the ceremony, these people are defying you, and you're not angry at them. How can the people who are under your command, you give order, and the people do not listen to you? but it's protesters that have a problem. The order the IG gave is to inform us and his people. But I'm not a policeman. I'm not SARS. So who are the people that are supposed to obey that order? It's the police. Are they obeying the order? No. We should look at this problem. The ranks have been broken. These people have gone rogue, and they can no longer be controlled.
That also reminds me of what you said earlier. You said Obi Ezekwesili and what's her name? Aisha Yusufu. They went to see the IG of police.
Yes, they did.
And the man assured them that nothing will happen.
Yes, he
and
said
at the
he
end
was not aware of the protest.
Before. Okay.
The one before that, the one that happened before Saturday, that is Friday, and how the protesters were dispersed. And assured that no such thing would happen. In fact, while we were there, we were speaking to people. We spoke to people from the presidency. We spoke to several government bosses. They said, no such thing is going to happen. It has been assured no such thing is going to happen. So we want to know how a CSP was able to give the order when different ranks on government above her said, no, this is not going to happen. So if you have lost control, there is a problem. The problem is not with the protesters.
All right, let's quickly go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with our discussion. I will be taking your messages at that time. We have messages already lined up. Like I said, you can follow me on my handle at Osanmor. Drop your comments there. Or you can also follow us on our official handle on Twitter at Democracy Number Today with the double Y. Democracy 2 Day YY. That's a day with double Y. DAYY. That's how you reach us. So you drop your comments. We'll be taking most of the messages as they come. Yeah, I have so many messages, but let's quickly go for this break and we'll be back. Stay with us.
Did you know that AIT's social media handles have all changed? If you are one of the millions of our followers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, this is introducing to you AIT's new official and rebranded social media handles. Like or follow us now on our Facebook page, Official AIT Live. If you're on Twitter, switch to our new handle at Official AIT Live and activate the notification button to get breaking news and updates on the go. For exclusive short videos and photo news, follow our Instagram account at Official AIT Live. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official AIT Live, and enjoy live streaming of news and your favorite programs, where you can also watch our broadcast materials at your own convenience. Note that Official AIT Live is the only authentic social media profile name with all the handles on our website ait.live, with a notification prompt to accept and receive breaking news and updates on the go. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube platforms on your smartphone, tablet device, laptop, and desktop to follow us now. AIT.live. On air, online.
Thank you very much for remaining with us. Let's quickly take some of your messages. I have this one coming from Okechukwu. Okechukwu says, thanks, EJ, for this platform. The lady with you and the man on the other end just nailed it. We aren't giving up. And Monday Amodeni is saying, end SARS protest should be on a solid foundation. Buhari should make an executive order towards this disbandment. God bless Nigeria. And moving on, we have this coming for Damian Jr. I am so proud of my generation. It doesn't end here because it goes beyond end SARS now. Come 2023, with the youths of this generation, we vote like our future depends on it and oust the corruption for good. And Silas is also tweeting. He said the youth should go ahead to demand for other things. They should demand for restructuring. And Ikechi Innocent says, it's very obvious the government is saying one thing while we are experiencing a different thing. What stops the president from addressing us live instead of talking to us using, I don't know, other means and through an edited video? That's what you're saying. The president spoke during the program, that video you saw. And Icon for Life, it is very clear that Nigerian youths are tired, therefore need ways to vent their frustration Nigeria is not safe for sane youth. That's what they say. And I have this one, Anuli Aniebo is tweeting. He said, tell them we cannot afford a few bad eggs carrying rifles. And Maro Edward is tweeting. He said, what about those that were arrested during the protest? Justified and justice for those that were killed unjustly by disbanded FSAS. It ain't over until it is over. Let's come to you, Mr. Uboh. Are you still there? All right. Yes, thank you. There are those asking for justice for those that were killed. And the question is, if you say you have disbanded SARS, what about those that are in detention, in SARS detention, that were in SARS detention? What about them? I know that the president said that he has ordered for a complete investigation into all the information that they have. So the person is asking now, what will happen to those in detention, in SARS detention? Mr. Uboh.
I didn't hear you well. I just heard about disbandment of
somebody is asking a question. The person wants to know what will happen to those arrested by the SARS officials, that they have asked to return to the headquarters. Sorry, I don't think Mr. Uboh's, let's find out from you. I know that some of you want the police IG to tell you what about justice for those that were killed, as well as those that are still in detention wrongly.
So right now, if they have said that they are taking this step, the first thing is panel of inquiry now. In fact, the first thing is there are men obeying this, and they are not obeying. These people are going rogue. They exist with the entitlement that with that gun you will bow. Like I said, Nigeria, violence has become a negotiating factor for everyone. Now the IG to him, first things first is for your men, tell them to stand down if they will listen to you. Now if they will not listen to you, that should tell you that, look, a serious problem is at hand and police needs to be restructured back to these different state level police, not this one.
You are calling for state police.
Of course there should be state and community policing. Go back to where you come from and police there. So that if Moses that comes from Kafanchan with me shoots a child whose house in you there, we all know Moses' house. That's how it's done. Why would you carry Moses from Kafanchan to Ogbomosho? He does not relate to anybody there. He's a stranger there. And in his mind, he's a police. You train them. You don't give them safety. And have you seen, go to YouTube and see police training. It is another thing entirely. They dehumanize these people in the process of training. And all that is in their head is to transfer it to the next group of people. So please, keep Moses back in Kafanchan where he comes from. Let him be part of his community. We want to see, we want to know our police. We want to be able to relate to our police. That way everybody feels safer. Not the one that we carry Moses to where he does not know and he feels that all he can relate to those people there is brutality. If nobody gets in line, he doesn't care, he doesn't know the person, he points his gun. Go back to the white paper. It is sitting there, it has been sitting there since November. Implement, and the most important part of that is state policing. People are not going to back down. Also tell the IG that this movement, IG, it does not have any leader. Nobody is the leader of this movement. Not Davido, not any other person that is telling you that there are links between you and the youth. We are not the ones. This is not the generation that a few people will come and take over a protest and tell you that they are there for. No. So if you people are giving anything to them, it's a waste of time. What we need is on social media. What we are telling you every day. We are all coming out to say it. We say it in protest. We say end police brutality. There are several steps, key steps you need to take to end police brutality. The first step is accountability. Accountability for all the lives that have been lost to SARS brutality. You cannot come and give us that list of 1 to 5. And inside that list of 1 to 5, we are not seeing accountability. You are telling us that those people are going to be transferred into other SARS units. Keep in mind that the people who were attacking protesters here in Abuja were not SARS unit people. They came out of Louis Edet's house to attack.
So they were not SARS units.
They were not SARS.
Because they had announced that the SARS unit has been
disbanded. You understand? So if you have said that it has been disbanded and police people are still out here, it speaks to a bigger issue. That police brutality is costing a lot of Nigerians their lives. And so you must look at what you are going to do to make sure that that system works, to not cost Nigerians their lives. One of the key things, again, is consequences. Nigeria lacks the concept of consequences and justice. And we must understand that that is the thing that must exist for any country to be sovereign and stand a chance at survival. Right now, Nigeria is failing because it lacks that concept, that people do not get justice. And when people, I will say this and I will keep saying this, for every issue from banditry to Southern Kaduna to NSAS, look, Nigeria does not have the concept of justice. And as long as it does not have the concept of justice, what's going to happen? People are going to interpret justice for themselves. And once that happens, you start having these different groups.
But Indy, are you not worried that after the announcement that the SAS has been disbanded, people are still on the street? This may even escalate to something else. Again, if they allow the protest to go. I gave you an example earlier on. No, I gave you a story that the Arise TV cameraman walked from where they were announcing the disbandment of SAS. He walked out. Who were the people that bust his head? It was police. It's police. They apologize for it. They should deny, they apologize for it. Now imagine just outside, not another place. We are not even saying Lugbe before we start talking Nasarawa State. It was right outside. It's not far. It's a straight line from that place to Transcorp. Yes.
It's not the radius between where that happened was not far. Right outside, the people outside did not hear what happened inside the building. That's the problem. As we are speaking here, IJ, outside the reception, your security people are watching they were watching Democracy Today. They're not watching football. So if I go outside, once I finish from here, you will hear them tell me, Madam, what you said today, you tried. If I did not try, they'll say, Kai, Madam, you would have said like this. Why? They are watching, they can see. How can you tell me that the people right outside are cocking their guns and cannot hear what is happening inside? Even small gossip should pass now. Right outside, to talk less of Surulere, Lagos, or parts of Port Harcourt, where young people are thinking how they should wear bulletproof before they come out to protest.
All right.
This should not be so. Okay. Now, this is one thing that is very clear. Let's not keep making it look like young people are on the streets just because they feel like it. It is that the order you said you have given feels very cosmetic to us. It does not feel like it is truthful. It does not feel sincere. Now, we're not just being paranoid. And I'm breaking this down so that even a 5th grader would understand. Why do we feel it is not sincere? Because as you are giving that order, police are still brutalizing and shooting Nigerians. Right. And they are doing it without consequences. And they are doing it with the confidence that they know that there will be no consequences. An IG of police, me, Indicator, you owe me justice.
Okay, Indicator, I think our time is up.
Everybody
I know you're speaking out of annoyance.
No, it is his job. I'm not angry, I'm passionate. That's two different things. Okay. It is his job and he must deliver. He has to.
All right, Indy, we'll still have you on the program some other time, but as it stands now, our time is up. We'll have to go. Let me just quickly take this coming from Bright. Bright is saying, good PMEJ and the guests in the studio. I want to say the federal government would have deployed SARS to Sambisa Forest to flush out Boko Haram since they are trained to kill. The solution for Nigeria is total restructure of divisions. Well, this is the much we can take today. We'll continue the discussion on as they go ahead to remain on the streets. We will be here to give you day-to-day happening as it is coming from the street. We'll be taking other groups tomorrow and also talk about other political issues on the program. But like I said earlier, keep tweeting and keep sending your comments to our social media platform. You can follow us on Democracy #2 Day, or you can follow me at Osanmor. Good night.